Okay, the next task is to think about the client and what their needs and wants are. It's really important that you're designing for somebody. You need to be able to present ideas to them, get their feedback. They ultimately can test the product at the end. So it's a really kind of important part of what you do. For example, if you were going to do the cinema project and the one about improving their experiences, it would be really important to find out from your client, or well, it's from your client, let's go with that at the moment, what their problems are, what their experiences are with going to the cinema, what they like, what they don't like, and that can help inform your designs. The way that this one here is working, this is again the zoo project, so they've kind of already discovered or thought about that they were going to do the pop-up book. I will just kind of zoom a little bit on this because it's a little bit tricky to see. So they've decided to do a general questionnaire. So they've asked a lot of people things. They've asked things about, like, bearing in mind they're doing a book, they've asked about fonts, they've asked about characters. So if they were going to have a character in the book, maybe like a main character, which is the animal people prefer. They've asked about colour schemes and things, again, to see what people like. They've asked about whether you prefer fiction or non-fiction books, styles of pop-up. So they've asked some quite sort of specific questions about pop-up books here. Let's go with that. And then they've taken up, because they've asked quite a few people, they've asked a group of people, they have then presented their findings in using these graphs, pie charts that you can get off kind of Excel, and then again presented a conclusion. So they've asked a group of people lots of different questions. They then targeted down on one particular, so they've decided they're going to have a single client. Like I said, there are some advantages with a single client. It's easier to get feedback, it's easier for someone to test if you just go into one person. You can have a group of clients, you can have like a focus group, but that's probably a little bit more difficult to organise. And also at the moment, with the way things are, it's possibly easier just to have to go with a single client. So then they've asked this single client, they've identified who they are, and they've asked them some kind of specific questions on what they think. So that's one way of doing it, a kind of generalised sort of questionnaire, and then something more focused down on a single user. This person, I quite like what they've done here. Really, they've identified users. So they've, over 2 slides, they've looked at, who bearing in mind this is going to a festival, have kind of looked at, well, what age group am I going to target? So they've kind of focused down on, it's going to be sort of 17 to 34 year olds. What would their family status be? Would they be male or female or both? Does it matter in their case? Things like marital status, so they like to be married or not. Again, it may or may not be important, but they've thought about it. Their educational background, employment type, hobbies and activities. Again, do these people have any particular hobbies? Would that inform your design? They've also looked at things like religious beliefs, values and morals, things like that. So they've looked very broadly at who their possible clients could be. Basically, who are you designing for? Are you designing for men, women, what age? What do the people you're designing for? What do they like? So they've done that first of all. That's quite a good way of doing it. Nothing wrong with doing it that way. And again, they've actually gone to a music festival, pretended they've gone to a music festival, and they've asked a whole load of people about their experiences of being at a music festival. So they've, how many have you come with people, or have you come on your own? What could be improved about going to a music festival? So there's things about food and sanitation and littering and things like that. So they've kind of done it that way. I would say for what you're doing, it's probably a good idea, like I said, maybe to have a single client. It might be easier, and have it someone that you can communicate with easily, so you can share ideas, bounce ideas off, and record what they're saying. If they tell you, they're giving you feedback, make a note of that, include it somewhere in your presentation.